If you've traveled outside the US recently, you're probably as overwhelmed as I am to see what impact the US has on these other countries. It's never been more prevalent than to simply look at their advertisements, whether it be magazine articles or newspaper articles to their billboards. You can't help but see American companies and brands on display like Nike and Apple, Levi, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, McDonald's, Burger King. They're all over in these foreign countries. But more on display than probably anybody else is the industry of Hollywood. You can't help but look at movie posters and television show advertisements that are all based out of the US. So that leaves the question, is Hollywood a good ambassador for the US in these foreign countries? At first, all I could think of were television shows like Jersey Shore and Honey Boo Boo and the impressions they give me as an American. And that's when my stomach started to have a big knot in it. But then I kind of looked at Hollywood as a much broader scale, and I'm proud of Hollywood and what it's accomplished, and I'm happy to have that at the forefront in these foreign lands and for it to be an ambassador for the U.S. Yes, we have reality TV, but we also have great works of art that come out of Hollywood. Think of the feature films like Citizen Kane or The Godfather. My own grandfather immigrated from Italy to the U.S., and he learned English from watching Jimmy Cagney movies. So the U.S., and Hollywood for that matter, can do a lot to shape positively what the U.S. is all about. I mean, Hollywood is maybe one of our most diverse and accepting areas in the entire country. It definitely is as far as an industry goes. They practice the First Amendment probably better than anybody. They'll make movies on anyone or anything, and all of those films have unique messages, which could not be filmed in many other outside countries. When you think about this last year and the Academy Awards and the 12 pictures that were nominated for that award, they were all excellent films. And they all had very unique, different themes. Some of them dealing with excess and greed, to various ailments, to determination, to love, forgiveness. I mean, those are all really great themes that come out of Hollywood and be showcased to the world. When you think about the movie that won for Best Picture in 12 Years a Slave, and it showed America at one of its darkest times, but it also showed that even in the bad times, there were still good people in this country willing to do the right thing and help people. Many countries wouldn't be allowed to show a film like that depicted a time in their country that was wrought with civil unrest. Not to mention, Matthew McConaughey won for Best Actor this year in a movie that was a little controversial about a man who was largely a bigot who then contracted HIV in the 80s. And the impact that HIV had in the 80s, and that having that disease and being told that he was going to die, he wouldn't accept it. And it opened him up to see people for people and not as their sexual preferences. And he wasn't willing to take it, so he turned around and got drugs for himself and for other people who were under the same disease, and what that did for those people and during that time in the U.S. Again, a really great way to showcase our diversity. I mean, you also have to think about Hollywood as an industry for the U.S. Has it really been a better performing industry overall, especially during this recent recession? I mean, when you look at how films are judged financially sound, it's not just anymore about what they do here in the U.S. box office, but it's what they do internationally. You have movies like Iron Man 3 and more recently Transformers 4 breaking records in China's box office making front page news. Again, this is showing our industry growth as a country. Again, being a positive ambassador. And again, Hollywood probably, like I had said, relates best to the First Amendment than any other industry we have. They practice the pillars of which our society was created on, which is the freedom of speech and the freedom for anybody to express their views and their viewpoints, even if they're not popular. Hollywood has endured a lot over the years, but keeps on thriving and gives opportunities not just to Americans to come into that industry and make it big, foreigners as well. The gentleman who won Alfonso Cuarón for Gravity, he won Best Director this year, is from Mexico. So again, it's showcasing that it's an open industry, that anybody's able to come into Hollywood and make a splash if they're talented and have a good work ethic. Which, at the end of the day, isn't that what we want the world to see? Is that you can come to the United States with a dream and see it fruition and live prosperity with that dream intact.